29 years ago, we lost Tupac Shakur, and we've never gotten the answers. He's kind of like the Emmett Till of hip hop, the mystery that has never been, and there's been a rounding of people, a lot of people, but no conclusions. Yeah, I always think around September he comes to mind because I remember what it was like that day when he died and the cold feeling and the vibe. And he was an outspoken young black man, poet, actor, musical icon, etc., etc. His name, his imagery, etc., has been spun around like a wheel of fortune, and we really don't know, where it's gonna go and everything. But he inspired a whole lot of folks, and so, and it's interesting how people have short-term, long-term memories of him. He was like a chameleon. There was a lot of different interpretations of him. But one thing is, no matter where you came down on him as an artist or as an actor or an activist or however you came down, how come they never solved the case? Why has it been this long? And why is he and the martyr and everything? But why has the industry never told the truth? And who's behind and everything involved? There's been hundreds of millions of dollars made in his name. Tons of very prolific artists, very productive. When he got out of prison, he went working. His career in such a short time period, he was in so many different projects, so many different things, just he had a presence and aura and very charismatic. And then of course he also got to be, contrarian, and sometimes he would say things or do things which again fit to the subject matter which he was associated with. And then you just look at him as a money bag because so many people then pimped and hustled his name. It's crazy. But yet, in spite of all that, he is a standard. And you can talk about rappers that came before him. You can talk about rappers that were his peers, and you can talk about contemporary MCs. They still got to kind of go through him. He might arguably be the most dominant name when you say hip hop because he got such a standard statue stuck in his name that yes, we can make the case that there were better MCs than him. There were artists that had appeal, crossover. There were artists that had, a straightforward career, this or that and the other. However, to touch to the tap of the core, he's one of one. Ask Jada Pinkett Smith. But anyway, when you just sit here and you just like ponder, like, will they ever solve the case? No, because he's a he's $1 million train and keeps on giving. And we don't want to talk about that corny movie that came out. He deserves better than what he has gotten. He definitely left a mark. He was like what I call, all due respect to other rappers. They're more, like I said, there are ones who are more known, like Snoop. There's one who's got longevity and got incredible run, like LL. You got mad scientists like Rakim, and also Karis One, and knowledge and drops like Chuck D and etc. And incredible runs of penmanship, etc., like Ice Cube and Scarface, etc. And I can name a lot. All of what Kendrick is doing, and others in between. But they didn't move and Biggie much respect too, but they didn't have the needle move like Tupac. There's still an aura. But he's become the Emmett Till of hip hop. Why hasn't this case been solved? And will it ever see the light of day? Because his documents haven't came out properly like they're supposed to. But anyway, remembering 29 years later, Tupac Shakur gone too soon. Please like, subscribe, work on thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another. Share the video if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out one time. Peace.